I actually went to school with Dr. Andrew Selepak, and over the years I've watched him lecture, have always been really surprised by how much he keeps up with social media, especially being a internet professor myself and doing that. And his kind of ability to keep up with trends, the way branding are going, new things coming up, like I say, has always been impressive. Happened to see him do a lecture similar to the one he's going to give over the summer and thought, man, it'd be really great if we could get him to come out and talk about this, because I thought it was such useful information and kind of getting it all in one place together rather than kind of a round of just how do people look at you online and what can you do about yourself. And we were lucky enough to be able to get him here today. Professor Sparks kind of kicked me in the butt a little bit too to do it. So I appreciate it. Sometimes I need that. So I am not joking though. He is a very verbose gentleman. I don't think we're going to have enough time for questions in here, but we're happy to hang out in the library or lobby, if any of y'all hear anything and you want to pick his brain a little bit after the presentation about anything you heard, wanted him to expand on anything. He's always happy to talk. So without any further ado, and me trying to make him blush at least a little bit, which is very hard, I'll turn it over to you and let you do your thing.
Thank you, Dr. Kane. Is this too loud? I'm really not used to speaking with a microphone. Or whoever's doing the sound, are we good? We're good? Okay. So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all taking time out of your class for the extra credit to come. The big thing is, like as Dr. Kane has just said, we're going to talk a little bit about personal branding and what that means in terms of getting a job and things to do and not to do when it comes to social media. So this is part actually of a lecture, a two-part lecture I do with one of my classes at UF, and we spend 100 minutes on it because it's 2 lectures. I'm going to try to do it in an hour. So when he was talking about how I can go on for long periods of time, that's kind of what he was talking about. But I wanted to start with the fact that you all live in a time and an age, we all live in a time and an age where you're going to be looking for a job. You're going to be looking for an internship. Now, there might be 1 or 2 of you in here that are heirs, and you've got a $40 million just bank account that you're just waiting to kick into, and you're like, I don't care about getting a job. And then there are other people in here who are like, no, I don't want to live on my parents' couch after I graduate. So for those of you who have the $40 million bank account, this is still good for you. But for everybody else who's like, I don't want to live on my parents' couch, this is more kind of a discussion for you. And part of this is the fact that, you're trying to find a job and you're engaged in branding. You're engaged in reputation management. People are going to be looking for you. They're going to try to find you. They want to know about you. And they're going to look online for you. And they're going to try to find information online about you. And what you need to do is think about, can you be the best you possible when it comes to this online presence? Because for the most part, you're going to build it. You're going to create it. You're the one who decides what are people going to find about me. And it can be a you that people want to hire, or it can be a you that people go, I'm going to look for another candidate. So a big part of this discussion is just thinking about that topic. How can you look as best as possible when it comes time to get an internship or a job? And what you need to do is perform round-the-clock maintenance. Now, I know a lot of people like to learn by hearing and some like to see. We don't have any doing in this, but I'm very big into like putting a lot of information on a PowerPoint slide, not because I want to give you carpal tunnel while you're writing, but just some people are like, I'm tired of listening to his voice. I just want to look at something. So for those of you who need to look at something, we've got it. For those of you who need to shop on Amazon and just want to hear my voice, I'm speaking as well. But the big thing is you need to think about how you can perform this round-the-clock maintenance and ask yourself, how do people look at me? How do people view me if they don't know me? If they come across my Twitter account, what are they going to think about me? If they come across my Instagram account, what are they going to think about me? If they come across my TikTok account, you'll wonder why they were looking for you on TikTok. But they still might find you on TikTok, and it's important to keep in mind that people are going to judge you for these reasons, and they're going to decide in a very quick manner, are you somebody they want to hire? Or are you somebody who they just decide to skip over? And all this is information that can be found about you online. And we start with just your email. So if you think about your email, what are you using? Because often the first place when you're going to apply for a job or an internship, you're going to send them an email. And if your email is YOLO@Gmail or ride or die at Yahoo, they're probably not going to hire you. I've never seen a job where someone's like, wow, you're just a really creative person. You're just going to go all out in life. YOLO. If that's your email address, and I'm sure most of you that's not your email address, but if it is, switch it, find something better. But at the same time, it's not just email addresses. It's also going to be your social media account handles. So you need to think about what handles are you using? How are you branding yourself when it comes to your Twitter account, your LinkedIn account? Do you have accounts like Miss Fat Butt or In Jail Out Soon? Because there are people that do. Oh, skipped it too fast. Here is Miss Fat Butt on Twitter, and here is In Jail Out Soon Maybe on Instagram. If you have these accounts, or if one of these is you, please switch. It will help you so much more when it comes time to look for a job, because people are going to come across these accounts and go, yeah, I don't think I want to hire you, Miss Fat Butt, or In Jail Out Soon Maybe. Now, where this comes from is this concept of we have to think about our entire online presence, everything about us that people can find online, whether it's just a Google search for us or our social media accounts. And we used to say back in the day that what you need to think about was if you didn't want grandma to see it, don't post it. Don't put it online. Don't let her see those things. But I'm pretty sure everyone in here, your parents and your grandparents, are now on social media. My father's 77 years old. He has a Snapchat account. My father's 77 years old. He's on Instagram. He posts on Facebook. A lot of stuff that's not true, but we just kind of expect that at this point. But you've got to understand that older people are going to be on there, including people that might hire you, and you can no longer think, well, if I don't want grandma to see this, I shouldn't post it. It's because grandma's on there. Grandma's going to see those pictures of you going out. Grandma's going to see those pictures of you tailgating. Grandma's going to see those pictures of you the next day after you've been tailgating. You don't want grandma to see that, just like you don't want anybody who might hire you to see those pictures. So a big thing is, how do I look to people who don't know me? What will they find about me if they look me up online, if they look me up on social media? So think about what exists about you on social media already. Think about what exists about you on all sorts of social media accounts. Think about what exists about you online, and then also go check for yourself, because you're never quite sure. So I just like this. Some of y'all might be familiar with Barstool. There is a Barstool Ole Miss. So here's a recent picture of Barstool Ole Miss. Gentleman, I guess he's just tired. Tired there in the front seat of his car. There's somebody practicing their gymnastic routine, I guess, at Ole Miss. And just two bros hanging out about to shotgun a beer. Now, these pictures exist, and the people are tagged in these pictures. And I hope none of y'all are actually one of these people. That would make this really uncomfortable. Nobody wants to admit to it either. That's fine. I did this one time with one of my classes at UF, and one of the students was like, oh, I'm in that one. I'm like, oh, God, like you're really the reason why I need to do this particular presentation. So you don't want to be one of these people that show up. You don't want to be in this because people will find it because you're tagged in it. And the thing is, you need to be cognizant of the fact that anything that you put out there, someone may see it, and it's going to reflect on you, and they're going to respond to it. They're going to comment to it. They're going to associate you with this particular content. And even if you're like, oh, I would never have a picture of me shotgunning a beer. Oh, I would never have me just taking a nap in the car. But what do you have? And then how do people see this? And what reaction might they have to you? So I'm going to show you something that I put out on Twitter. It's nothing bad, nothing wrong. No one, like, I didn't get in trouble with my dean or my department chair. They weren't like, oh, we're going to fire you for it. But it was something that got a response from people and made me look kind of stupid, but then made the people who were responding to me look even worse. Now, the nice thing is that it's an LSU example, and just like us at Florida and just like y'all here, I know we don't like LSU, so I think this will probably make everybody at least a little bit happy. So Barstool LSU put out a tweet. If you remember, not that long ago, Notre Dame Cathedral was burning down, and Barstool tweeted out, "Join a conference, you cowards," for the fire when Notre Dame was burning down. I then, innocently enough, tweeted out, in the event LSU Barstool does delete this, here is their tweet on the destruction of the Notre Dame Cathedral. Now, does anybody think there's anything wrong with what I put out there? If you do, just like, yeah, I do. But did I think enough about, like, well, what could the response be to me putting this tweet out there? And as it turns out, we got from Barstool LSU, "We will never delete the tweet. We don't cave in easily, unlike the Cathedral of Notre Dame." Some of y'all are like, oh, crap. Now, they did since delete that particular tweet, but mine got a lot of responses. I heard Cry About It, Man from Josh Landry. I got Who Cares from Tim from Houston. What Kind of Loser Doesn't Have Night Mode Activated? That was from Kay Fauntleroy. Brad Henderson called me a liberal pansy ass. Raphael Bourgeois said, zip it, nerd. And then I got another one, great, get a sense of humor, but hurt, blah, blah, blah. So I put out a tweet of just, oh my God, I can't believe Barstool would say this. And then it got a response from people of a lot of negative things. This was just some of them that I could fit on this slide. So it's not always necessarily I have something bad about me, but how might people respond to the things that you put out there? And you've got to be careful because you might start getting all sorts of negative responses and then have to deal with it and suddenly get stuck in the situation of like, should I delete this? What should I do? Oh my God, why did I do this in the first place? I should have just let their tweet go. But in the moment, sometimes we're just too interested in putting that comment out there. We're like, oh, I bet I'd get a bunch of likes on this. I bet a lot of people would comment on it. But you don't know exactly what type of likes and comments you're going to get. So you can go back and do one of two things when it comes to your content. You can start deleting your content. You can start going, oh, let me go look at all the posts that I have out there. Let me get rid of anything that's bad before anybody sees it. But one of the problems with social media is that once it's created, once it exists, once it gets put out there, it doesn't really go away. And proof in point is if you look at Facebook's sort of data use policy, in there it says, we store data as long as it's necessary to provide products and services to you and others, including those described above. Information associated with your account will be kept until your account is deleted unless we no longer need it. Essentially, Facebook is saying, look, you can delete everything, but it kind of goes into the recycling bin on our servers. And if we want to pull it back out again, we can. So if we need to sell this information to a business or the government, they can have it. So once any content makes its way to social media, once it gets this URL, once it exists, it's there. So you need to be preventative on the front end of like, nope, don't want my picture taken during this. Don't want this post out there about me. I'm going to just try to be overall protective of what people think of me and what they see about me. Now, if you don't know, one of the things that you can do is you can go to your facebook.com settings. I know a lot of y'all are like, I don't have Facebook anymore. But if you do, you can go to the privacy tab. You can control who can see your page, who can contact you. You can control who can even find you on there. Not because you have anything to hide, but just because you want to have some privacy. You want to have some way of going, this content, I just don't need everybody out there to see me. And in some ways, that's a good thing. We do kind of have some expectation that what you do on Facebook is a little bit more private than on Twitter or Instagram or on LinkedIn. So if you want to see, okay, what are my privacy settings? Facebook makes it kind of easy to do. The only problem is most people don't do it. They don't think about it. And sometimes they have their Facebook page wide open, and it can be really easy to look at stuff. So I don't work for the NSA. I don't work for the CIA. I don't work for the FBI. I have very little experience with law enforcement. I have one ticket I've ever gotten. It was expired tags. That's my law enforcement experience. But I can go find people on Facebook when I need to and then go find content that they don't know is actually publicly available to anybody and go look through their stuff. And I don't have any special skills. I'm no Liam Neeson. I have no special skills that make me very dangerous for someone like you. I just know how to go on there and look for stuff. And that means other people can as well. So what can they find when they do this? So you need to think about how your profile photos and tweets appear to the world. What are people seeing when they come across and they see your accounts? What content are they seeing? What are they seeing you're posting about? What pictures? What videos? What did you say that you liked? You can go, but some of y'all have had Facebook since you were like 9. So what when you were 9 did you say you liked and you still like that page on Facebook? You may be like, oh, Teletubbies are great when you're 9. They're probably not as cool. Now, I'm not saying that if you're still a big Teletubbies fan, go you. But you might not still want to be associated with the Teletubbies. So like what exactly are you still connected with on there and can you reviewed these things? Look at wall postings. Look at profile pictures, profile information. How secure is your account from people like me or anybody else coming across it and then finding out lots of information about you? And I'm a pretty innocent, decent person. Turns out there are some people out there who aren't as innocent and nice. So there's simple things like when you go somewhere and you take your Instagram story and you take the Instagram story and you tag the location. How many people have done that? Okay, some of y'all. Some of y'all don't go out to eat enough. If I go out to eat and I'm not taking a picture of my meal, then posting it to Instagram stories, it's like I didn't eat it. So it's like literally a requirement on my phone. Y'all are just like, I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. So I can do that, but then because I have a geolocation attached to it, it sometimes pops into stories for that location, which means other people can see it. Then they see my post that's on there with a geotag. They can then find my account. They click on my account. They can go to my account. My account's public. They can start looking through my pictures. They can then see pictures of all the places that I've been and my friends. They could literally walk up to me a few minutes later and be like, hey, Andy, don't you remember? It's John. Don't you remember me? I'm like, no. Oh, we were together, and they could just pick out a random picture from my Instagram account and start talking to me about it. Now, if John comes up and talks to me, no big deal. I meet people I don't know all the time. But some of you might not want some strange dude coming up to you while you're having a meal trying to pretend like they've known you from 5-6 years ago and then talking to you about something from a picture or a set of pictures that they've seen. Because most of us are too nice to be like, yeah, I don't know who you are. Please leave me alone, creeper person. Instead, we're like, oh, yeah, John. Hey, yeah, we were in science class together. So think about how people can find you, the information they can get, and how they can use it in a real-time situation. So that's just more of a sort of a privacy thing and like being secure. But those types of things are very easy to do and very easy to happen because we put so much information out there. Every meal, every vacation, every time we hang out with our friends, every time that we literally have a thought in our head that goes out on Twitter, we put this information out there and people can find it. So remember that your online presence, the things that you've liked, the things that you've posted exist about you. They're out there and people can find them. Everything from when you were 13 years old to your 21st birthday to when you're tailgating in the Grove, those pictures are going to appear there and people are going to find them and they're going to judge you for it. And this is really important because of the fact that your reputation is going to precede you. People are going to look you up. Employers are going to look you up. Lots of people are going to look you up. And they're going to find this information out there. And a lot of times people are like, well, it's okay because I have it on private. But the thing is, and a lot of people don't realize this, you can go into an interview, and in most states in the country, it is legal for the person interviewing you to ask for your social media passwords, to then look at your accounts, to look at your DMs. So you're like, you know what? All my posts are good. Man, you look at my Instagram account, it's wonderful. But what have you been DMing? What kind of messages have you been sending? Because they can go look. Because it is legal for them to ask for your passwords, and if you don't give them, they can go, sorry, we're not going to give you the job. So you might lose out on your dream job because they're asking you for your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, your TikTok password to look through your account and even through your DMs. And just to be clear, and just so we're all on the same page, Mississippi tried to pass a law to prevent this, and it failed. So right now in Mississippi, you can go try to get a job. I know some of y'all aren't from Mississippi, but some of y'all are and want to work here. Y'all can go apply for a job, and they can ask for all of your passwords to go through your social media accounts. And if you say no, they can say, well, we'll find a candidate who will. So it's not just your public posts, it's also your DMs and what you've been DMing people that someone may see at some point. Anything that you do that's digital leaves a track, leaves a trail, leaves some way to find its way back to you. And you want to make sure everything out there is stuff that you're proud of, you're happy with, and you don't mind somebody seeing. And there's lots of stats and lots of figures, and I've got a couple slides just to kind of reinforce this point of what it means and who's looking at stuff. So this is from careerbuilder.com, and it talks about how more than half of employers won't hire somebody that doesn't have social media, but then how many people they've decided not to hire based on what they saw on social media, including over here at the bottom, candidate posted too frequently. So simply posting too much might prevent you from getting a job. Your employer or the person hiring you might go, yeah, like, do you have time for anything besides posting to TikTok? What are you doing with your life? Candidate lied about qualifications, poor communication skills. Think about it from this perspective. I know a lot of y'all probably, there's an app, I don't know if any of you have heard of it. It's this app where you can meet people and like their picture shows up and you can decide if you want to like swipe this way or that way, if you'd like to engage with them in a conversation, to meet up for coffee. It's something innocent. It's called Tinder. I know it's not. I know it's a kind of a new thing. Not many people have heard of it. But for those of you that I'm kidding. Y'all are like, is he serious? No, I understand. Y'all know what Tinder is. But think about it. Like if you came across somebody's Tinder account and they were using there, and there wrong, you'd be like, oh, you're attractive, but you're dumb. You know, the same thing's going to happen with your social media. They're going to come across your Twitter account, and if they see that you have poor language skills, they don't want you to represent their company. They'd be concerned every email that you sent out. They'd also be concerned if you've got inappropriate photographs, if you've got pictures of you drinking. Even if you are 21, it's not hard to not be in a picture with you if you have a glass of alcohol. You do this. See how quick that was? Okay. But all these things are reasons why people didn't get jobs. And there's even more. 80% of college admissions offices are using Facebook to access their applicants. And this is for grad school as well. If you're thinking about law school, going to grad school, the admissions committee will look at your social media accounts. And you might not get into the grad school of your choice because of your social media posts. 70% of employers don't hire an applicant because of online content. Among U.S. recruits and HR professionals surveyed, 85% said their positive online reputation influences their hiring decisions. So companies are looking for you. They're going to have a stack of applicants like this, and what they're trying to do is eliminate them as quickly as possible. And if they can come across your Instagram account and go, there's inappropriate stuff here, your resume gets thrown to the side, and somebody else might get the job that you want. Or you might be applying to law school, and they're like, well, we only have so many spots this year, and this person, man, they have great grades, they have all this student involvement, but did you see their Twitter? They're out. You don't want to miss out on grad school, a job, or even necessarily a nice coffee that you meet with somebody on Tinder because of your grammar, your punctuation, your writing, or the things that you're posting on there. Another one, just to reinforce it, this is National Law Review. Studies have shown over 40% of employers use one or more social media platforms to obtain information about people they're hiring. 43% of businesses report that social media searches resulted in them not hiring somebody. So again, people are going to look for you on social media. They're going to find your accounts. They're going to find your content. And then even if you're like, I've got it all on private, you might apply for a job where they ask you for your social media passwords to see all the stuff on private, including going through your DMs. If it's electronic, someone can see it. Doesn't matter how much you can try encryption and everything else, someone can still see it. So you need to be careful. And just in case you were concerned or thinking about it, we look for you too. So your professors will look for you online. They'll look for you on social media. They'll look for you on, your eyes just kind of lit up. You're like, yes. Like I get students who will add me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Then I see their stuff. And then a lot of times I have to send them a message of like, I really think you should delete this one. Now, how many here would like your professor to DM you and be like, hey, so the thing you just posted doesn't look very good. You might want to delete it. You might be like, wow, I really appreciate you helping me out like that. You're such a great person. Or you're like, oh crap, they saw it too. So think about what your professor might do for you. Your professor might be somebody who writes you a letter of recommendation. But if they've seen your social media accounts and if they see the things that you've been posting, they might go, I'm not recommending this person. Your professor might know of job openings. They might know of internship openings, but they're like, ooh, I don't want to bank my reputation on this person. So you might miss out on jobs. You might miss out on letters of recommendation because of what you post on social media. You might not get into college. You might not get into grad school that you want. You might not be able to date the person that you're interested in or have a cup of coffee with them. You might not get the job or the internship you want. So what can you do? Which takes us to the fact you can build an online brand. And the last part, the second half, I guess, of this discussion is literally on this topic of what can you do so that your content that you put online is stuff that people would want to see, is stuff that would make people want to hire you, is stuff that people would go, I would bring this person in for an internship. And there's lots of different things that you can do to have a positive presence, but there's a lot of these things most people don't. They don't take the time, they don't take the effort. The ones that do have a much better chance of being successful in getting that job that they want. The ones that don't find their mom's couch really comfortable. She does your laundry. She probably cooks really well. She might give you some gas money because you're broke. But the others who do have a much better chance of landing that job or internship. Because the thing is, you are a brand. Whether you want to admit it or not, you're a brand just like any politician, just like any company, just like Apple. Ole Miss has branding too. You can go on to the Ole Miss website, and I did, and you can find their specific branding when it comes to fonts, imagery, and colors. You are the exact same as Ole Miss when it comes to branding. You can decide to have a brand that people recognize, that people want to associate with, or not. Brand people want to associate with mom's couch. The choice is literally yours to an extent. Now, it doesn't mean you're 100% going to be successful, but it does mean you're a lot less likely to be successful if you don't think about yourself and your brand, if you don't prepare your brand, if you don't improve your brand, if you don't make your brand really something that people want to associate with. The choice really comes down to being yours, because you're creating what is a recognizable promise of this is who I am, this is what I can do, this is what I can do for your company, your business, your organization, whoever it is that might want to hire me or give me an internship. And the thing is, you are the one that's in charge of it. You're the one who gets to create this mental impression in the mind of the company that might hire you, the mind of the company that might offer you an internship. You want them to have this brand impression of you that leads them to the conclusion of when they ask, why should I hire you? Why of my stack of resumes should you be the one? You have a response that begins with because I am, because I can, because I do. You can demonstrate your value to the company. Your social media supports that thing that you're saying, this is what I am, this is what I can do for you. This is why I have value for you to hire me. And when we think about this topic, it comes from there's different ways depending on if you're advertising, public relations, marketing. You might have heard it as the unique selling point. It's also called the value proposition. A brand has one. It's what separates you out from everybody else. Specifically with the concept of a value proposition, there are 4 parts to it: appeal, clarity, credibility, and exclusivity. The concept of you are appealing, if I am hiring, you are appealing to me. I have a job for a PR professional. You have a degree in PR. You have experience in PR. You're now appealing to me. If you're like, oh, I worked at McDonald's, that's not appealing to me. You don't have what I want. The next part, clarity. Is it clear that what you have is what I want? You can say, well, I have an internship here. I have some experience here. I did some work here. All right, it's now clear that you have some things. The credibility. Somebody hired you to do it. Somebody has offered you the opportunity to do it. That gives me an idea you're appealing. It's now clear and it's credible. But the thing is, most of y'all are just taking classes. You don't do those outside experiences. You're not finding other things to do. There's literally nothing that separates you from the person sitting next to you. You're taking all the same classes. You're reading the same books, or maybe not. You're doing all the same homework. You're learning from the exact same professors. There's nothing separating you out from the person sitting next to you unless you're getting experience, and you can say, not only do I have that PR experience, I can code, I can do Photoshop, I can do video editing, I can create PowerPoints, I can do data analytics. There's so much more about me that I add and bring to the table, and that's who people are going to hire. They don't want a one-trick pony. They want somebody who can bring a lot to the table. And this all comes from thinking about what is your brand. Because at the end of the day, if I don't understand you, I can't believe you. If I understand you but don't believe you, nothing else you say matters. You have to be credible. You have to be clear. You have to be appealing. And then you got to separate yourself out. And the way you separate yourself out is to demonstrate the skills that you have that others don't, that make you appealing compared to everybody else. So your brand really comes first. The first thing that you have to think about is what makes me special? What separates me from the person sitting next to me right now? And until you know what you can do and who you are and what makes you special, networking and everything else should take a back burner. Because if you go get an interview and it's the internship of your dreams, and they sit down and they're like, tell me about you. And you're like, I go to Ole Miss. Like, cool, what else? I work really hard. I'm like, cool. No one in here is going to say they're lazy. What else? Thanks for coming. You need to know who and what you can do and what you are so that when you get these opportunities, even if it's something as simple as you meet somebody in an elevator, you have concepts of this that tie to an elevator pitch. Like, can you explain to somebody in under 30 seconds who you are, what you can do, and what makes you special, that I might want to hire you or might put you in touch with somebody who could? And if you can't, that's where you start, your brand. Then you start networking, meeting people, connecting with them on LinkedIn and everything else, and then you sell who you are so that they're willing to buy because you have something that they might want. You have a presence, you have skills, you have abilities that they might want to hire and give money to, rather than going, it's nice to meet you. Have a good day. So when we think about doing this, we need to be able to demonstrate who and what we are, the skills that we have. And there's lots of ways to do this, but often people don't want to take the time. They don't want to take the time to think about how can I present myself. They don't want to take the time to build that presence. They just think, well, my dad's cousin's uncle's sister knows somebody. And while that's possible, they still don't want to hire anybody who doesn't have skills and can't demonstrate those skills. They want to find people who can do the job that they have, because most of the time you're not bringing in interns for them to be a pain. You're not hiring people that you have to spend extra time with. You want them to have the skills already. And what you can do to demonstrate and start building these skills, you can do things online and offline. Online, we'll talk about some of that in a second, just creating content, putting content out there that makes you look good. Offline, joining groups, joining all sorts of different groups, getting involved in internships, getting involved in externships, student experiences, connecting with people. Like literally there are people in your classes who 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 10 years from now, literally Jason and I went in school together a few years ago, maybe more than 2. But I'm only here because of the connection I made with Jason when we were both in school together. Literally right here, you see how this works. There's no other reason for me I'm literally on spring break right now, for me to be in Mississippi, from a state filled with beaches to no beaches. Y'all going on spring break next week, probably to a place with beaches. I did the opposite. But it's because of a connection I made while I was in school. And these types of offline activities are really important to be able to meet people and connect with them, because they may have opportunities for you later on in life. And the other thing is just to keep learning and beyond what you're learning in the classroom. Because again, everyone here is getting the same professors, getting the same material, reading the same books, doing the same homework assignments. But what are you doing beyond that? Are you trying to take any online courses? Are you trying to learn other things? Are you trying to learn coding? There's free coding classes like Code Academy. You can use Hootsuite and HubSpot. There's Google Analytics. There's all sorts of classes out there. In my classes, I make students do outside certificates all the time. I post it to LinkedIn. Every one of my classes, you have to do at least one. I've got a 1-credit class where they have to do 2 of them, just so they can demonstrate more skills beyond what others are doing, because it separates you out from everybody else. So what this then comes down to is the way you build your online image. The first thing is find out when people are saying things about you. Set up a Google alert about yourself. It's really easy. I'm guessing most of y'all in here have a Gmail account. It's really easy to use Google. Now, for some of y'all, it could be really difficult. You could be John Smith. There's a couple of y'all. I'm Andrew Selepak. It's a made-up last name. When my family came through Ellis Island, they were like, we don't understand what you're saying. Here we go. There's nobody in Europe with my last name. It doesn't exist. Now, there are 3 Andrew Selepaks. One is my great-grandfather. One is my great-uncle. They're dead. So there's me dead and buried in Pennsylvania, and then me. So if you look up me, you're going to find me. If you have a unique name, it's more likely they're going to find you. So you can set up a Google alert to find you. Then you control the dialogue. Instead of just letting other people talk about you, you talk about yourself. You post stuff to Twitter. You post stuff to LinkedIn. You get involved and do volunteer opportunities to write for somebody. Write about Ole Miss sports. Write about literally Mississippi politics. You can write about literally anything. There's somebody who's creating content that you can have your name attached to, where when people look you up, that's what they find. And you can control that or not. And then you also create a fan base. I appreciate being on a Coke campus. It's refreshing. When you have a Pepsi campus and you're stuck drinking like Pepsi all the time, it's really nice. Create a LinkedIn fan base. But the big thing about just searching, like have you ever even searched for yourself on Google to see if anything exists? The first time I did this with one of my classes, the next time a class met, one of my students was like, yeah, I made a rap video when I was in 6th grade that's still on YouTube. I'm like, did you delete it? He goes, yeah, I deleted it. But only 6% of adults have set up some sort of automated alert to let them know when they pop up anywhere online. And it's going to happen, and you don't know where. I have mine set up. Here's me, Google alert. It comes in an email. Andrew Selepak showed up February 10th, 2020. TikTok. Me talking about TikTok. I was in Mashable. Setting up an alert just to know when you pop up, because you never know where it's going to be. I've popped up in random things in foreign languages. I suddenly have to go to a website and I look at it and it has to be translated from like Hungarian. And I'm like, why am I in this? But you want to know what people are saying and monitor what people are saying so that when something comes up, you're prepared. But again, what happens if you Google yourself? What shows up? These are just screenshots of mine. On the left, you look for me. Turns out I work at UF. It's a top result. Then it's my website. Then it's my Rate My Professor. I have a pretty good Rate My Professor. I used to have the chili pepper when they did it. Just saying. Videos I've appeared in. If you look me up in news, different stories I've done. How many people in here have ever just Googled yourself to see what's out there? How many people have not? One person's willing to be brave and be like, I have no idea. But when was the last time? What could have been said about you since? I'm a little bit narcissistic. I do Google myself a couple times a week just to see if anything new pops up. But it's one of those things that's important to know. Because if you don't know what's being said, and you don't know how that might reflect on you later on. So keeping track of that is literally just the first step. And then the other thing that's important to keep in mind is that if you have a non-unique name, the best way to not find you is to not be creating content, not be putting yourself out there, because no one will come across you. And the only thing that's potentially just as bad stuff being about you out there is nothing being about you. Because then people are like, you didn't care enough to try to build a brand. And if you didn't care enough to build a brand, you're probably not going to care that much about the work you do for me, because you didn't care enough about yourself. So be your own search result. And the easiest way to do this is to create your own portfolio website. Everybody that graduates from school should have their own portfolio website. You should have one built. You should build it probably somewhere in your sophomore year, just so you have the bones of it ready. So that when you start doing things, you can start populating it with the internships that you do, the jobs that you get, to demonstrate all the skills that you have, all the things that you've learned, all the ways to show off, here's what I can do. And then that's the easiest way to have a search result for specifically you, because you've built this thing. And it's not that hard to do. You can use Weebly, Wix, WordPress. You don't necessarily need a great deal of coding experience. In fact, for some of them, you don't need any. Or get a friend to help you out. That one friend that you know that does coding, and you're like, hey, we're buds. Help me out. And put one together, because this is just such a great place where you emphasize your brand, who you are, what you can do. And even more importantly, it gives you that search result. It puts it out there. When someone does that Google search for you, they find that thing where you're showing off the best about you, including your resume. And there's other things that you can do. Make it instead of using the .wordpress or .weebly, make it just your name. Create a professional Facebook account. Another place where you can show off you, it can become a search result, you're highlighting your best work, you're showing all the things that you can do. It's the best you possible. And then you have a URL here and a URL here. The URL can go in your email signature, it can go on your business card, it can go on your resume, it can go on your Twitter account, it can go on your LinkedIn account. You can show it off in so many different places, and then this helps with search engine optimization, which we won't really get into, but it then helps boost your search when people are looking for you. It makes you more discoverable, more easy to find you and what you've done, which is a great way to show off you. Because a website is your online resume. And I know all y'all have a resume. You've probably gone to resume workshop classes. You probably have classes where they ask you to work on your resume. But that website is a better resume. Because that paper resume, it's a document. Nobody downloads documents off of emails. That's where spam comes. That's where viruses are. Someone sends me a document, I want to look at that. But you send me a URL, I'll click on it. And that URL has all sorts of information on there. You can have your contact information, your resume, your blog, any artwork you've done, pictures you've done. You want to be a photographer. You want to work in advertising. You want to work in marketing. You want to work in some form of communication. You can have a reel on there if you want to be a reporter. You can have other articles that you've written. Anything you can imagine that shows off your work, highlights you and your skills can go on this website. You can even put different clubs that you're in. You can put awards on here, photos of you meeting important people, photos of you doing professional things to make you look like somebody who would show up to work on time and do a good job. I want somebody, if I'm hiring, to come in and not to be embarrassed to work with them, to know if it's a Monday morning, they're not hungover from the weekend, to know that if it's a Friday night and I need you to stay till 6 or 7, you're willing to work. Not somebody's going to go, it's 5. Like we got to go. Like, 501. I want somebody who's going to work hard and going to care. And I can find this out about you through your website. And there's so much that you can put on there. It's so interactive because of the multimedia that you can include. Again, things like your portfolio work. You can have a video elevator pitch of you on there. You can have a little 30-second elevator pitch. You can talk about who you are, what you can do. You can talk about like what you bring to the table. You can have your social media on there. You can have your accomplishments on there. You can add video from Vimeo or YouTube. You can add SoundCloud files. You can have links to different stories that you've done. There's so much that you can put on there that you can spend an incredible amount of time creating an in-depth, detailed website. And the thing is, I've said this to my classes. I've required this in my classes. I'm saying this to you, and I'm willing to bet in this room, there's maybe 50 people in the room, there are 5 people in here who will probably do this. There's about 45 who are like, well, spring break's coming. It's already Monday afternoon. And I'm thinking about leaving early for spring break on Thursday. And I've got to pack before I go, but I want to see everybody before I go. And then spring break hits, and you come back and like, oh, crap, the semester's coming to an end. But there are about 5 people in here who will build this, and they will be found, and they'll have a much better chance of landing something. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you will. Nothing in life is a guarantee. But you'll have a much better chance of having something to show people that will make them want to hire you. And again, if you have the $40 million bank account, hire me. If you don't, think about who might hire you. So along with your website, there's also your social media accounts. And as I've already mentioned, bad social media accounts don't look good either because it demonstrates you just don't have enough of an interest in yourself to show off you. You don't care enough about you to brand you, to highlight what you can do. So while it's great to have social media accounts, be active. Be active in a good way, but be active. Don't just have a Twitter account and you haven't posted since 2019 or 2018. I'll kind of wonder what happened to you. What were you doing? Why were you just lurking? Have active accounts. Have accounts that people go, oh, I'm excited to see what you're doing. And when you're on those accounts, if it's Twitter, follow people who are in the industry that you want to work in. Follow people that have the job that you want. Like their stuff every once in a while. Retweet their stuff every once in a while. Let them know you exist. Don't just think, oh, I followed you on Twitter today or I followed you on LinkedIn today. I'm going to DM you tomorrow and ask you if you have a job for me. Because they're going to go, who the hell is this? No. You need to build this networking up over time. You can't just expect to call somebody the next day and be like, you got a job for me. They won't know who you are. So you need to start today and think about preparing for those things when it comes time to look for a job or an internship. You need to start connecting to the people now. You need to connect to them on LinkedIn. And here's a little tip. Your professors generally are going to accept your LinkedIn requests, and your professors are connected to more people than you are. So it's an easy way to get a sort of a 2 degree of separation LinkedIn connection to somebody who might be at a job or work at a place that you want to work at. So it's a nice place to start is by connecting to those faculty members, which allow you to network with other people that might help you land that job. But it all kind of starts by working early and not expecting it to all pay off right at the last minute. So a couple tips, couple tricks, just 8 quick tips, and then we're almost done because I know y'all are like, holy crap, he talks a long time. 8 quick tips on things that you can do. How much time do I got? 15 minutes. Oh, hell yeah, I can do that. Number 1, use the same profile image. Use the same profile image across your accounts and anything that people are going to see. Use the same profile image for Twitter, for Instagram, for LinkedIn. Use it for your website. Use it for your email. Put the same image so that it is a recognizable visual identity. They see you on one, they recognize you on the other. They connect one to the next. If they find your Twitter account, they're going to go, oh, I've seen this person already on another one because the picture is still there. If you're Coca-Cola, you're not going to have 3 different images. You're going to have the one image that you're going to put on all social media at a given time. If you are McDonald's, it's the same thing. But just as Coca-Cola and McDonald's have a brand, so do you. So do the same things that they are, including using the same visual image across platforms. You want to switch up the header some? That's cool. But it's this main visual that people are going to come across. Number 2, use consistent handles. So if you're going to have a Twitter account, use the same name for your professional Facebook account. Use the same name for your LinkedIn account. Use the same name for your email account. I am A. Selepak when it comes to Twitter, let's see, what do we got here? A Selepak on Twitter, A Selepak on LinkedIn, A Selepak on Instagram. Not because I'm trying to get y'all to follow me. I also don't have a book or any shit I'm trying to sell. I'm just trying to tell you. So on Twitter, on Instagram, my website, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Gmail, on Snapchat, on TikTok. I'm A Selepak everywhere. If you find me in one place, you're not going to miss me, because it's going to be the same place again and again and again. And if I have content and I'm active on there and I'm putting out good content, people will be able to see my content on different places. And that's what I want. Nobody in here posts anything to social media going, I hope nobody likes this. I hope nobody comments on this. I hope nobody replies to this. We're all narcissists. You may not want to admit it, but we are. No one posts to social media hoping no one notices. So why not do what you can to get the most people to notice you? Literally go with your natural instinct to be a narcissist. There's nothing wrong with it. Some people might disagree, but it's true. It encourages you and it motivates you to be seen, to be found, and have the best you to be seen and found, just like you have the best you on Instagram. We all engage in self-image manipulation on Instagram. We post pictures of our vacation. We post pictures of us hanging out with our friends. We don't post bad hair day. We don't post, I got a zit on my nose. I don't know how this happened. We don't post sad day. We post all the best about us. So post the best and then make it easy to be found. Number 3, if there is bad stuff about you, untag, delete, get rid of as soon as you can. Don't wait. Don't wait for somebody else to find it. And because I know I have an extra couple minutes, I'm going to do an example to demonstrate what that's like. In 2013, the University of Florida started a graduate program in social media. They put me in charge of it. We had a lot of people going, who needs a graduate degree in Facebook? Kind of sucked, but that's what they were saying. So the Wall Street Journal did an article about the graduate degree in Facebook at the University of Florida. They found out I was the director of the program. They went through my Twitter account. They went a couple years back into my Twitter account. Around 2011, I had retweeted Total Frat Move. In the Wall Street Journal article, they said the person who's in charge of this program retweeted Total Frat Move. Now, you may not have an example like that, but I'm trying to prevent you from having that example. Because the big thing is you got to see what you've been putting out there, and if it's anything you don't want to represent you now, delete, remove. Go through the pages that you've liked on Facebook, the accounts that you follow on LinkedIn, the accounts you follow on Instagram, what you do on Pinterest. Delete yourself off of anything you don't feel represents you now and doesn't represent you well, so you don't have the Wall Street Journal finding out about it and writing an article about you. Number 4, be discoverable. Use the right keywords in your profile to be found. Identify the right keywords. What would make people interested in you? And then put it in your bio. Put those tags in your bio. So I thought it would be a little bit bigger, but I guess it's a little small. Here's my Twitter account. PhD, lecturer in Department of Telecom at UF, director of MAMC and social media at UFJ School, #UFgrad. There's my website, A Selepak, live in Gainesville. All sorts of information to get people to be like, oh, okay, I see who this person is. I see what they're doing. I see what they're about. I would like to engage with this person. I'd like to interact with this person. I get emails. I get messages all the time. Hey, I'd like to interview you about such and such. I was waiting in Dr. Kane's office earlier. I got an email. Hey, we'd like to interview you about TikTok. So I got a TikTok interview phone call later because somebody found some of my stuff online. You want to be found because, again, it goes back into that whole narcissist thing. You want people to ask you your opinion. You want to seem cool. You want to get hired. You want to get a job. You do this by making it easy to find you and people to engage and interact with you. Use keywords that are good for job descriptions. A lot of the times, if you have a good LinkedIn account, they have all the AI and software that goes through all the LinkedIn accounts looking for words, looking for phrases, and someone may offer you a job not because you ever applied, but because you have your LinkedIn account filled and it's got the descriptions and the information in there for somebody they're looking for. So you could have the opportunity towards right there at the end of your last year of college, 4th year for many, 5th year if you were me, and be looking for a job, or someone could contact you and be like, hey, we've got a job for you if you want. Now, if I had the opportunity to look for a job or get hired because someone found me, I'm picking you do the work. And this happens if we fill it out, if we fill out all the information. But do it naturally. Don't just try to put every word in there that you can think of for the computer and AI to find it, but do it in such a way that it's natural for people to then read it, for human HR people to read it and find it. Number 5, fill in your fields. If you have opportunities to fill in content on your social media accounts, do it. So here's on Twitter, you can have a bio, you can put in your website, other things that you can put in there. On different accounts, they allow you to put, for your Instagram account, you can have one website in your bio. Maybe link that to your professional website. There's all sorts of ways that you can just make it easier for people to find you and your content, or you can just go, yep, I've got my name and my handle, I'm good. Some people still have that little egg for their profile picture on Twitter, and I'm like, why? Why would you do that to yourself? I'm not following egg. I like eggs, not that much. So fill it out, have everything done, and then check over time because things change. You might have a new website you want to show off. Maybe you want to put in your bio a new landing page on your website, or maybe there's a new article you're in, or there was something new that you've done, and you can put this information in there and change it when it needs to be. Number 6, cross-promote. A lot of accounts allow you to highlight other social media accounts on there. So here's the contact info on Facebook. I can put my Twitter account in there. I can put my email address in there. Again, if you're not highlighting all the things that you have and that you can do, people won't find you. But the goal is to be found. It's to be found so that people can see what you can do, who you are, your capabilities, so that they want to hire you so that you can get that job and stay off of mom's couch. And all the different ways of filling in website information. Pinterest allows you to connect to Facebook and Twitter. Maybe some of y'all are really big on the Pinterest. You got all sorts of boards and you're planning all sorts of things. I have a student who has put together a whole thing on TikTok about making dinner for college students. She's got a whole TikTok account that she's putting together for it. She's becoming TikTok famous. But then you want to show off on your other accounts where this content can be found. Number 7 is build trust. Ask for reviews, endorsements, recommendations. You ask for letters of recommendation from your professors when it comes time to get a job or an internship, but also have that on LinkedIn. Connect with people. Show people that others think you can do your job. When we talked about value proposition, I said credibility. Credibility comes from other people vouching for you. It is the virtual wingman when you're trying to find a job. It shows that others will support you in what you do. And you can go onto someone's LinkedIn account and you can see what they've been recommended for. I have this, it was a tweet that I had on Twitter. One of my former students went to the current president of UF and got him to say how awesome I am. I thought that was pretty cool. I made it a pinned tweet and had it up there for about a year because I was like, can't fire me when the president says I'm pretty cool. And he even tweeted out, here's to the greatest professor at UF, which, I mean, that's, yeah. This video is your good luck charm to keep you from being fired at UFJ school. Give Selepak his flowers while he's still here. His age is limiting how long he has to live. Cry face, blank face, blue heart, which I heard blue heart means something different. Hashtag go Gators. But I had the president of the university be like, you know, Andy Selepak, it's people like you that make UF special. And I was like, I want my parents to see this. But it's these types of endorsements that make you look good, makes people go, wow, okay, maybe you are good at what you say you do. And then you can pin these posts. You can put them at the top. You can get to where they don't get buried in your timeline. They're sitting right there at the top for more people to see every time they come to your account, when new people come to your account. And you can pin posts on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all sorts of ways to pin your best post. And if you do this, there's a much better chance what they see is your absolute best. Because you said, I've got all this stuff in my timeline, but this one is the best one I got. So when they come to my account, this is what they're going to see. So where does that take us? I guess to Lane. And why? Why do I have Lane here? Because we have reached a new era. We have reached a new era, not just here at Ole Miss, but in terms of trying to find a job and trying to find a career and trying to make it for ourselves. Because in the 21st century and where we are right now, you get to build a brand. You get to make a brand. You get people interested in you. You're not just applying for jobs. People are coming and offering you jobs. People are finding you. There are people in this room right now who might be social media influencers. You might have companies and businesses offering you products, services, might offering you all sorts of deals to come show off what you've got on your social media accounts. I've had restaurants contact me for one of the classes that I teach. It's a travel reporting class, and they're like, hey, if you come to our restaurant, we'll give you free food. We'll give you a free wine tasting. Just talk about us. There are so many advantages that you have that your parents didn't have, your grandparents didn't have, and everybody before you didn't have. No one's going to hand you anything, though, if you just think that, well, people are going to like me because I'm smart or I'm a graduate of Ole Miss. Everyone in this room, hopefully, will be a graduate of Ole Miss. So what's going to separate you out from anybody else? And it's whether or not you promote yourself, you brand yourself, you put the best content of you out there, and you go out and get the opportunities and experiences that give you more content to promote and to show off. And if you do that, doesn't guarantee you'll be successful, but you'll be much better off than the person sitting next to you who's thinking about where they're going on spring break next week, because that person very well might be on their parents' couch. And again, mom's a good cook. She folds that laundry just right, but I'd rather have a job, pay for my own food. So that's it. I'm going to end there. Hope y'all enjoyed. I don't know if we have time for questions. So I'd like to thank y'all for stopping by. Hope y'all got the extra credit, and